All right, hey everybody. I hope everybody is doing well today. I just wanted to record a quick little video, just quickly airing out my grievances that I have had with PC ports of Sonic games for a while, and specifically, I wanted to highlight a problem with forces that not many people seem to be all that knowledgeable about, because I've done research on this and nobody really seems to be talking about this. So I wanted to just put a video out there and set the record straight just so nobody is really confused anymore like I was for the longest time. So, if you've been playing Sonic games on PC, I think you're aware that for a very long time they've just been hard capping these games to 60 FPS for some reason. I really don't know why they keep doing this. I feel like that if they have some sort of engine issue that's preventing them from running these games at higher frame rates, that they should have solved that by now. But for whatever reason, they just haven't. But regardless, in 2026 and even back in 2017 with Forces, which is the game I'm mainly going to be highlighting today, this is completely unacceptable. And I am aware that Sonic X Shadow Gens did increase the frame rate cap to 120, but, you know, somebody like me that has a 240 hertz monitor, that still doesn't really get the full potential of my monitor, and many PC games out there will just let you unlock the frame rate entirely. So I still think that we're not quite there yet, even if 120 is better. And I'm pretty sure with Crossworlds, they actually locked it back to 60 again. I'll double check on that and I'll edit the video to let you know if that is the case, but I'm pretty sure they capped it again at 60. Pretty embarrassing. But I specifically want to highlight a problem with Forces, because nobody's really solidified this. So, Sonic Forces provides an uncapped frame rate option in the menu, as most of you that have played the game on PC know. And there's sort of been murmurs in the community that it hasn't really worked right, but nobody's really explained why it doesn't work right. So today in this video, I want to explain why. So I'm running this on a 5090. Each of these games I can run at really high frame rates, so I'm able to test this pretty easily, thankfully. I have an example of Forces capped at 60 FPS, Forces supposedly running at 240 FPS locked, and Unleashed Recompiled running at 240 FPS locked. Now, the thing that you want to keep in mind, alright, and I'm just going to fast forward with Unleashed Recompiled here. I recorded each of these videos in 240 FPS, as you can see here. If it is properly running at 240, with each frame, I'm going to zoom in here so you can see that I'm actually parsing through each of the frames here, excuse me. With each frame, you're going to see movement of some kind. Even if it's small, I'm going to zoom in a bit more. And let me just actually move to a separate point in the video where I'm actually moving around a bit more, so it is a bit more obvious. Just hang on a moment here. Yeah, here we go. Okay. All right, zoom in. Yeah, so with each frame that I'm going through, you can see that there's changes to the image. There's changes in the movement. There's a change in the image each frame, and that's an indication that it's running at 240 FPS. This is running at 240 FPS. I recorded at 240 FPS. So this is how it should work. It should be moving almost every frame. Sometimes it'll skip, but, you know, with recording and how games run, it's not going to be perfect every single time, you know, but this is generally what you can expect. There's going to be movement every single frame. Now, if you were to record at 240 FPS, but you cap the game to 60, you are going to get repeated frames, because, you know, it's running 60 goes into 240 4 times, so there's going to be roughly 4 repeated frames each time as you parse through the footage. Let me just show you. So I got footage of Forces here. All right, so this is capped at 60 FPS, and again, with each of these examples, I have Rivet Tuner open just to prove to you that it is running at 240 FPS in all these examples, or the FPSs that I say. This is capped at 60. It says 58 there, but then again, sometimes the way games run, even when they're capped, it's not exactly perfect, even if you have a monster machine. And right here, also capped at 240. If you go to Forces, and let me just, again, go to a point where I'm actually moving around. When it's capped at 60, there's going to be repeated frames every 4 frames. Like, every 4 frames is going to be the same. So you can see. So it just, let me see here. So it changes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, and then it changes again. Okay? And then 1, 2, 3, 4, changes again. 1, 2, 3, 4, changes again. 1, 2, 3, 4, changes again. You understand the point. And you would expect that because it's running at 60 and I'm recording at 240, that's what you would expect. However, if you unlock the frame rate, and I just go through here, all right, and you just play the game normally, um, it is still repeating frames as if it were running at 60, despite the fact that my software, despite the fact that Rivatuner and even the NVIDIA overlay were telling me it was running at 240. So even though the game is supposedly pushing 240 frames, if you go through, and you can see me going through each of the frames, it is still repeating frames as if it were running at 60 FPS. So, again, just to show you the difference, this is me going through Unleashed at 240. See how much smoother that is when I'm just tapping it? This is what Forces looks like. So, essentially what this means is that the game's internal logic is still, every single aspect of the game's logic is still capped to 60. And while it might be pushing more frames like these other softwares are claiming, sorry, I can't talk today, it's essentially just lying to you. It just lies to you and tries to trick you into thinking that you're actually running the game at a higher frame rate than it actually is. So, yeah, I think that that is just... It really explains why they cap the frame rate at 60 with the subsequent games, even though I think it's unacceptable. I would much rather they just, you know, try to fix whatever problem they have with their engine so their games can properly run at 240 and not need to lie about whether they're giving you more frames or not. Like here, they're rendering more frames, but they're not going to give you any of the benefits from actually having a high frame rate. That's essentially what's happened here. So, yeah. So if you've ever felt like Forces running at a higher frame rate doesn't quite feel right, or it doesn't feel like other games that you've played that play at a high frame rate, this is why. It's not actually running at a higher frame rate. It's just lying to you. It's tricking your software. It might be rendering more frames, but every single aspect of the game's logic, everything around it, is still running at 60. Animations, everything. Like, even the fucking timer. As I go through, even the timer is not updating on a faster scale. Like, as far as I'm concerned, nothing about this is actually taking advantage of the higher frame rate. So, yeah. That's why Forces at a higher frame rate just doesn't feel right. That's the reason the game just lies to you. It lies to you. So hopefully that clears things up, and hopefully Sonic Team can figure out how to get their games working at a higher frame rate more consistently, because in this day and age, it's just not acceptable. There's other problems with Sonic games on PC, don't get me wrong, definitely, and I kind of want to make a video talking about it, but I feel like getting your game to run at a higher frame rate, or just get it to run properly at a higher frame rate, is the bare minimum. So yeah, hopefully that clears things up a bit. Thank you for watching, and yeah, I'll see you guys later if I ever decide to make another one of these.